Alright people, welcome back to the GPL Grand Finals here. This is Fenna with Esports Heaven TV bringing you this Chinese tournament. And boys, it's game number 3. It is Overgrowth LE, and this is a Blue Zerg player called IG Zigua. And in the top right of the map, we've got a red Protoss player, and he is IG Jim. That's Invictus Gaming for you peasants out there who don't know anything about the Chinese scene. And mixing it up once again, Mr. Jim. Different build every game so far. We've seen the Nexus first into Gateway, the greediest possible build. We've seen Forge first, a perfectly fine build that's really good at countering the hatch first, and now we're seeing the Gateway expand from Jim, which he will be, well, I assume he'll be expanding at least, but there is a drone scout here from Zigua this time. Obviously a bit annoyed at that cannon rush last game. He's like, hey, last game you cannon rushed me, it's time to drone scout you, and I'm just gonna go hatch first again. I really think that I don't know if it's a mind game, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if Zigua generally goes for hatch first in a ZVP, or if he's doing it because he's playing against his teammate Jim here. So maybe Jim isn't normally the kind of guy that goes for cannon rushes, and in practice he never does that, and then in a tournament game he's like, wait, hey, you play too greedy. I'm gonna start cannon rushing you now. And that's what it's all about. But it looks like Zigua going to be going for the pool here after the gas. This is probably the nicest opener against a Protoss on one gas taking an expansion. Because most of the time when you see a Protoss on one gas like this in the main base, you saw it with the drone scout, it generally means something like a 4-gate, something very aggressive off 2 bases, because why else would you just sit on one gas? You're not going to be able to get much tech or anything, and there we see the boost on the Cybercore. So there's like only a couple of different builds from one gas that exist. You've got the fast 4-gate, the most common build. You've got the really old double immortal with 1 prism, go and attack with zealots and immortals. You've got drone up, probe up a bit more, and then go for a big 7-8 gate really early on with mostly zealots. Or the really rare scenario is that someone is going to take a 3rd base on that one gas, but that very rarely happens because with just the one gas you're not going to be able to get the sentries or what you need to be able to defend that, so that would be a very risky play. But he's going to be going for the 4-gate here. I actually saw the VODs of the semi-finals, and I saw Jim do the exact same build on this map. Who was he against? It wasn't Sen. Let me have a quick peek. Oh, it's Tudming. He used this against Tudming, which was just last round, so I assume that Zigua knows this kind of play can come out from Jim. It seems like a common play from Jim. And with the hatch gas pool, he should be able to just pump a bunch of Zerglings right now and take care of it quite easily. And he's recognized that it is a 4-gate nice and early. He stopped on 31 supply right there with the speed. That means he's going to be able to get a massive amount of Zerglings, and he's going to be able to overwhelm this really easily. Remember though, Jim does have the recall if he wants to use that, but he might throw down a time warp really quickly, which will actually be a bad thing for Jim, because I'm pretty sure Zigua holds this with the amount of Zerglings that he's going to be able to build. And there we go, the Queen's just going to poke away at the mothership core. Jim's getting more zealots in, but for some reason he feels like he doesn't have to commit, or he's just trying to hide it and hope that Zigua does not build more Zerglings. But there are definitely more Zerglings on the production tab. Here we go. He's still not moving forward, still hasn't shown how many Zerglings he actually has, and here we go, a lot of Zerglings in there. Is Jim gonna go for... No, he goes for the time warp. I'm unsure about this decision. If all these Lings wipe out all of these zealots, that is an amazing trade for Zigua right there, and that is gonna be the case. So many Zerglings just coming in and just destroying the zealots, and that is not the best decision making from Jim. He could have just gone for the recall, but he desperately wanted this hatch. Look at it, it's on 4 HP. The mothership goes back and pops it. Oh, what a play from Jim right there. That's why he stuck around. Noticed that he could get the damage on the hatchery there, and just does kill it with the last shot of the mothership core before the Queens manage to take it down. Now he's got to worry about the counterattack. 2 sentries at home ready to deal with this, but only 1 with a force field. This is a lot of Zerglings, and it looks like Zigua is going to go for it. He's still pumping Zerglings across the map there, but realizes that with those sentries warping in, not going to be able to make it happen, and he does back off. Wants to get his third base going again. Only just started it. That's going to slow him down a lot there. Jim with a nice lead in this game once again. But he did trade away a lot of Zealots. That's what you've got to remember. That was a hell of a lot of Zealots. And right now, Zigua does have the army value lead. It's just look at the drone counts and the probe counts. That's the problem here. So many less drones in comparison to the probe count. I think if the best way for Jim to play this is a nice slow game, take a third base, and capitalize on his economy, because moving out onto the map right now is not the best way to go. When you've got that lesser army, but you have the better economy, all you want to do is sit back, let yourself drown in that economy, make it rain on your own units, and slowly just take the lead. So we'll see what he goes for. 4 more gateways on the way though. So it looks like he might just attack here. That's going to be 8 gateways total. That's a lot of gateways, man. And Robo on the way as well. I feel like this is just going to be a huge attack, but he hasn't really got any tech behind it. He's got no Twilight. A massive gateway attack with no tech? At this point in the game? I don't know, Kev. Hopefully the Robo means he is actually going to tech up. But I can't see it with this amount of gateways, to be honest. I think he's just going to... Yeah, he's bringing the probe. There's no signs of him looking to take a third. Looks like a slow move out onto the map with his pure 8 gateway. Remember, no blink with this one. He does have a lot of sentries, though, and this base is really easy to force field, especially with these spines going down. That means less position for the Zerg units, like 2, 3 force fields here, 2 force fields there, and it's the tiniest choke point ever. Always a nasty position to engage into. Burrow is coming down, but I think that Robo did make an observer. Yeah, he made an observer, so that's going to be the play there from the Robo. Trying to find some reinforcements here, not going to find too much. These Zealots should be okay. Just getting the 1 pick off there, but he will be able to move across into the natural to pressure that as well. It's actually not walled off right now. Oh, but Zigua doesn't go for it. He's moving into this place already. There we go. The force field, exactly what I said. Block everything off there. Catching the roaches in the middle. He's moving forward. Can Jim get the third game nice and easily here? There's a lot of units for Zigua. More Zerglings coming from the back. This is not looking good for Jim, but I said that last time. Time warp coming down. Zigua looking for this around with these roaches and Zerglings. How many force fields are left on these? Quite a couple, at least 5 on those sentries, but with no blink. I mean, that's what won him the game last time. If he's just got pure units, it's just a numbers game. Your micro cannot save you any longer except for the force fields. Here we go, what can he do? Guardian Shield goes down. The units from the top. At Zigua, they're not doing anything. He needs to get them in the battle right now. Otherwise, he's only fighting with half of his army, and Jim's moving forward. He needs to use these units. It doesn't look like much, but that's a decent amount at the top right there. Roaches and Lings struggling for Zigua. There we go, the rest of the units coming in. That's going to help him out a lot. Drones coming off the line once again. We saw this in the last 2 games. Can Zigua hold on against his push from Jim? Very aggressive player in all of these games, and it looks like Jim once again, even with a low army supply, just going to push through. He's unstoppable. He's the king of stalkers right now. Jim moving in. That's GG.